So we've talked a lot about what's happened in northeast Syria from the United States point of view, from the Kurds point of view. What about from Turkey's point of view? Was this a win for President Erdogan?
President Erdogan did this for domestic purposes, which is why he's done a lot of things in Syria over the last 7 or 8 years for domestic purposes. He originally opposed Assad because he wanted to get the Islamists behind him in Turkey. But now that his currency is falling, there's less investment in Turkey, the Turkish economy is in a downward spiral. He did something that played to the nationalists in Turkey, which is kick the Kurds out of the border areas in order to be able to move all the Syrian refugees inside Turkey who are unpopular in Turkey over the border to an empty space in Syria. It's all domestically focused from Turkey's point of view. And President Trump has played along with him, essentially.
So this may give President Erdogan some political support back home, as you say. But what does it do for his economy? Because you pointed out the fact he's got some issues with his economy. Occupying 20 miles of northeast Syria is not going to help his economy, I don't think.
No, it won't. And also, the Kurdish problem is endemic and chronic to Turkey because Kurds don't only live in the southeast, they live all over the country in the major cities. And this problem is not going away. It's a short-term benefit for Turkey. The truth is that international investors don't have confidence in President Erdogan, who's quickly losing support, has personalized economic decision-making, making decisions for political rather than purely economic reasons. So there's no light at the end of the tunnel at the moment. Erdogan is at his weakest point, even with the Turkish, even with over the events of the last two weeks or so, is more or less at his weakest point since he came into office, which is we're going on 17 years now.
So President Erdogan may or may not come out of this stronger in Turkey. What about President Putin in Russia, who went in there and sort of brokered the deal with Assad and President Erdogan? We hear a lot about Russia really asserting itself, not just actually in Syria, but also now in Africa.
Yes. There's two ways to look at it. Russia has gained Syria. Going back to the middle of the Cold War in the Soviet Union, Soviet Union had a naval base at Tartus on the Mediterranean coast of northwest Syria, and it feared losing Syria. That's why it intervened. Now it's got Syria lock, stock, and barrel. He's got President Assad beholden to him. Syria has become like an appendage of Russia in terms of great power, influence. That's the positive way to look at it for Putin. The negative way is, so he's got Syria. Now it's his mess. Now he's got to make the peace between Syria, Turkey, and Iran, all of whom have slightly different interests. And an American neo-isolationist might argue that good riddance with Syria.